Okay, hello, fine people of PU. Welcome to Untier Talk. We've got me and Hajad as normal, featuring ZS.
Okay.
Yeah. And today we have, the most monumental tiering decision in all of current gen PU. NU banned Aurora Veil, guys. It's over for your Alolan Vulpixes. I'm so sorry.
Oh no. Rest
That's
in peace, Alone and Vulpix.
actually that's quite good for us because for the upcoming tier shifts, we're gonna gain like a bump knowing the other how's it called?
Yeah, when we do have the big shift, I'm pretty sure we'll get at least Abomasnow and maybe Vanillux too, so.
Now I was thinking like how's it called? Auroras.
Oh yeah, Aurorus. I forgot about Aurorus, to be honest. I forget it's released now.
Yeah, and it gets Aurora Veil too.
Hmm. So we could have 3 auto setters.
Yes,
Yep.
that's quite cool.
Let me turn the volume. But yeah, I was just making fun though. Not much has happened since I mean, P World Cup has happened, but tiering wise, I think there's not been a ton to say about new meta since the week of P World Cup was still old meta. Certainly, it's probably going to be worth having a discussion about if Haunter's broken, but there's nothing major on the tiering side.
Yep.
Yeah. I think for a lot of the tiering decisions, everyone's just sort of taking a back seat, waiting for the tier shifts next month, because those are going to be the big ones. I think everybody's sort of disinterested at the moment in regards to tiering.
Yeah, but I also think it's partially just because like we have a fine meta right now, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. Like, we have a fine meta. Like, any ban that we make now is just going to be reversed in a few weeks' time. So it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, if we did need to ban something, I'd do it for a good meta for now. But eh,
Yeah, there's no need to rush right now.
eh, we can just chill. I mean, again, Haunter's the one thing that I think people will probably want to have a chat about. It just hasn't really made a splash. It hasn't had the chance to make like a big splash in tournaments yet. But I know some people have been like, that sub split, sub disable stuff is really hard to handle sometimes.
Yeah. I definitely think Hunter is the thing to ban if you're banning anything.
Yeah, I can go with that.
Mm-hmm. It's weird. Like Drampa's still kind of silly, but it definitely feels like it's chilled out, especially with new drops that don't like outright beat it, but just give it more, a few more headaches.
Yeah, like it's just that it's significantly dropped in usage too,
Mm-hmm. It's
so it doesn't help.
yeah, and you've got competition from Turtonator and stuff. I mean, Turtonator's really weak, but it's still but it's
Yeah,
still
but
it's
Shout
still
Flash is
something.
so good.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about World Cup. So there's still no replays thread, there's still no highlight replays unfortunately, but there are a lot of things to talk about. This was a really contentious close finals week that came down to the wire. Um I guess we can just start by going down. So Brazil and Latin America versus India would be the top thing on the thread. And this is probably um this set could have mattered a lot. And a lot of the games happened really late in the week. And then very, very late in the week, it turned out that the set finally ended up not mattering because one of them needed to win by enough to surpass Midwest, and the best they could do is win by 6-2. So the whole like they just stopped playing the set and it kind of fizzled out. But before then, um, this could have been a pretty interesting set. Uh, the only game I actually remember from here is HS bringing Sunflora Sun
That game was pretty fun.
Yeah,
in
I had a
in
uh,
SM.
I had a Sunflora team in SM as well, but it was Sunny Room. It wasn't just flat out Sun.
No, I don't. This wasn't even room. It was regular chlorophyll sunflora, which of course got outsped by like Alolan Raichu under sun because it's just a meme. Um,
Yeah, that's a shame.
yeah, I remember that. For the most part, I don't remember the other games. It's a series that I would have gone over a lot more if it didn't end up not mattering like right at the very end. Um, the whole Midwest West set like finished so late. Um, And then it turned out, nope, they didn't need to finish their games.
Yeah.
What else happened here? I'm trying to just grab these replays real quick from in the thread, but none of them are super notable.
Yeah, the one that I did want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Pablo and Serene. That was, I think, the two best games were the ones that weren't played. Unfortunately, I think that's a general thing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Gondra's also, yeah, Gondra's been a lot of fun to watch in SS, and could have had a cool black white game, alas. But yeah, they stopped at 4-2, and I'm pretty sure. What did they need? With the tie, did they need a 7? Did one of them need a 7-1 victory? Let me see.
I think Brazil needed a 7-1, and India needed
yeah,
6-2.
Brazil needed a 7-1 victory to tie Midwest if Midwest tied, and India would need a 6-2 victory to tie Midwest. So as soon as it ended up with 4-2 Brazil India, they couldn't match and they just stopped. And that was that. Hey Jad, you guys got slapped by Canada, Northeast.
Actually, I would like to put this out there. We did not get slapped by Canada. We just ran out of talent, I think.
What does that mean? You ran out of talent?
So on paper, it looks like we got absolutely had, and we did, but not in the way you would expect, right? I would actually class the majority of our games as probably throws. Like we were in a position in most of these games where we were comprehensively winning, and then we decided not to win the game. Apart from Tasker's game, which we weren't really winning, but Evie got lucky, and then Tasker got hacked.
Yeah, it was that. I do remember that one. That was like an even game, and then Evie got like 3 rock slide flinches.
Yeah,
that was a bit sad.
Just a quick overview. I think Rosie Bear, like in a late game situation, 50-50 versus Booth, wanted to predict the Clefairy, and instead of clicking Psyshock, they clicked Trick.
Yeah.
They were toxic and just lost the Jinx. The game was still even at that point, so I don't really care too much. But it was kind of frustrating knowing that you had odds and you just didn't click a button that won you at all. Tasker Eevee, we discussed that was an unlucky, but it was 50-50 at that point. Watermess probably played the worst offense I've ever seen in my entire life versus Sensei, and should have won easily, but lost. So
wait, Sensei's team was that bad? Hang on, I need to find this game.
No. Watermess played the offense that he was using badly, not Sensei. It wasn't about Sensei. A comment on Sensei itself.
Let me see this.
You can watch the game. It was just crazy. Some of the plays to me were like mind blowing. I don't consider myself as like a really good offensive player. But how Hens played that match, I was just mind blown. Every single play didn't make sense to me after turn 1. Every single one. And I made my feelings known to him, which is unfortunate because he's a really good player most of the time, and he's a really good lad as well. So it was a shame, but yeah, it was pretty bad throw there.
Yeah, I watched this game turn 3, accidentally sacks Jinx. That's unfortunate.
That wasn't an accident. It didn't look like an accident, bro.
I mean,
it looked like a play, and
it was. He sacks Jinx, I guess, expecting flip turn from Wishy-Washy and not U-turn. I don't know. That was... and it's a shame, because he brought Trick Room Meteor Beam Behem, the Chad set.
That set was fucking sick. I told him, in the middle of the week, that set would do copious amounts of work if he could get it in properly. So he built this cool offense team, and I was like, yeah, this is good. This would work because we were expecting Canada to play it safe and bring fast stuff, which they did. And this set would have done a bunch of work, but by the time it got in to do something, he'd already sacked half of his team because he played it weirdly. Like people just didn't click the correct buttons in the correct order.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was that game. Ted played Solgazer in 160, which is what I expected him to do in SM, or at least win. Then Esther didn't play Splash. Me and Star didn't play because the series was over by that point. Diofantine played Obi and played like an absolute magician for about 10 turns, and then just lost.
Yeah, I was impressed with the early game, and then Obi got like 3 spikes for no reason, and then just won. Like,
for literally zero reason. And I told him prior to the game, how you play this team, you get up spikes, you do your mid-game breaking, and then you win. You don't dilly-dally, you don't wait around, you have to just go at the throat, because in black-white, the longer you leave the game, the more odds you get at getting hacked. Just giving your opponent win cons.
It was a very disappointing game from him, absolutely. Like, that was just really not good.
Yeah, and so that was the last game, I think, so I was pissed off as fuck after that game.
There was DPP too.
Yeah. The DPP game, I didn't really understand it, because I don't understand DPP, but I assume Hace-Up won pretty standardly there. I didn't.
Yeah. I actually watched the game, and it was pretty fine, bar the team H-So brought. I think it was pretty weird. I
think some people made comments about the team H-So brought, like it was fucking fire or something, but usually you don't want to see fucking fire brought out week 5 when your only odds at qualification are if you win, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I like the Magmar set, like sub life orb. When Rocks is the easiest move to put on in DPP and there's 2 spinners, I don't think it's good. And
yeah, fair enough.
It ended up not doing anything.
Yeah. We can cross that one.
I've never
as
seen
comprehensive
a DPP team like that.
Yeah, we can class Hace-Up's win as a legitimate win, but I think we genuinely had odds at the rest of the matches, and it could have been 5-1, but the other way around.
Yeah, that's fair. And this was big for you guys, because if you beat Northeast Canada, you would have qualified over them. But
100%. We ran out of talent. That's what happened.
Yep. So Northeast Canada moves on, and then finally West versus Midwest. Oh boy, this set. So West is the team with still 0 points going into this, for the most part, like just doing really badly across the tour. And we have barely fight our way to a come from behind tie. It was not good. We played some really early sets on like Wednesday, and Vivalos Pride and Sergio just traded wins that like neither of them deserved at all. And Expulso lost to a blunder policy, hypnosis, nasty plot, fire blast, stored power, Ninetales. That was kind of fucking sick. I'm not gonna lie. I can't be mad about that one.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, but like our SS has been much stronger than our old gens in general, and mostly what we've been using to carry us. And our SS was just not good. Avarice threw a free win versus TJ, real bad. Confide threw a free win versus LST, real bad. LST had a team that essentially had no breaking or ability to function outside of a meme. Rain Dance Memento Runorigus into sub Salic Belly Drum Polyrath. And realistically, it wouldn't have any chance to set up. Like, that just doesn't work. You can just like go to your Mr. Mime and on the Memento and then just stop the setup. But Confide just sat on it with a -2 Sandaconda and let the Polyrath sub and belly drum and then just died. Avarice had like a free offense win and tried to use the breaker as a win con. It really didn't work. Like, it just wasn't good. Our only SS win was Kither getting activity over Sigeniter, because West cared so little that they had to give just a free loss in one slot. But we made it back because Trix beat TSR in a game that I think TSR played a bit better, but his matchup was just god awful. His matchup was really like we prepped for TSR and he just didn't have much. And Brufasa clutched out a pretty good win over 2 times the tap, so it ended up being old gens carrying, and not just old gens carrying us. I have the most win in our old gens. Our ORS Black White DPP all won, um, which have been our worst slots. So we somehow came with this stupid from behind tie to qualify because we just needed the tie to make it in. This was just a bizarre set. A whole bizarre. Like I was the first game, and I got what? I got frozen turn 1 and then crit to lose, and that was the very first game, and I knew we were just gonna have a fucking stupid series.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to me that US West has played so poorly this tour because their team, like you look at the team that they threw out for the last week, and I would still put that team really highly in comparison to the other teams that we've seen
absolutely
in the rest of the tour. So it's crazy to me that they've only had 1 point this entire tournament out of 5, or five possible wins. That's crazy.
Well, no, you get 2 points for a win, so it's it's 1 point wins out of a possible 10. Which it's like on paper at least, their SS core should be way better than Midwest. Their old gens should be way better too, but we something about that team just did not come together at all, and they ended up with with 1 point, whereas you have Northeast Canada ending with like 8. Yeah, 8 points. Jeez.
Yeah.
But they really gave us a run for our money this week. This was probably the best they've come out. They picked up like 3 SS wins out of 3 games played, and at least the Zomog win was pretty crazy. I will say TJ and LST, like, we just threw at them because they were kind of bringing funny stuff. But yeah, just weird to see West go out like that. So at the end of this pool, we have Northeast Canada moving on as seed 1 and Midwest moving on as seed number 2.
Yep.
Pool 2?
Pool 2 is weird.
Pool 2 is a lot different. We can start with the one that doesn't really matter though. Asia, Africa, Australia versus Germany, the 2 already eliminated teams.
It's out of 3 actually, because there's Europe that was eliminated.
Oh yeah, 2 of the 2 already eliminated teams playing each other. So this series didn't matter, and I was really happy that you guys still like played 8 games, and there were a lot of fun stuff. People didn't just like give up and stop playing. That was really nice.
Yeah, because like we wanted to have at least a win for the record.
Yeah, you're no longer the bottom. You didn't end as the bottom performing team in your pool. Germany did. So
yeah,
you overcame them, and both of you outperformed West still. I think West is still the lowest performing.
Yeah,
that's crazy to me, dude. That's still crazy.
That's.
I actually think Asia, Africa, Australia were a pretty underrated team in the entire tournament. Just because I think they had more talent than people probably respected. That being said, it's just been it's tough in that pool, especially because even though you played Germany and won, the rest of the teams in this pool are kind of really good, like cohesive-wise. So they either have talent or cohesion, and it just generally sucks that you got slapped in a pool like that. But yeah, I personally didn't find it a surprise when you beat Germany. I think you guys had probably the better overall talent.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about this set, ZS?
Like, I think PTF versus Michael, their best, was a pretty one-sided game. Like, Michael really outplayed PTF, but he had fun, he told me, so it's cool.
Yeah.
My game versus Sacred was just me taking advantage turn 3, and then he couldn't put it back. Because I used like Eject Lycan.
Every game happens so early in this set.
Yeah, we played 5 games on Monday.
Hell yeah.
That's a record. That's gonna be a record.
Yeah. Actually, the first that happened was TPP, and we got smacked. That was like the most one-sided DBP game of the tour, really.
Interesting.
I
didn't
better
see Emre
find
as
this.
Gorax used again his King's Rocks in Sinnoh, and he blew a team away again. And Shiny Azelf, Shiny Azelf played really good versus X-Ray. This was a pretty good game.
Yeah, that's an interesting game because X-Ray is probably Germany's best player by far.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one with the most name power to me on that team. So, it's surprising that Shiny Azelf managed to win that, being a relatively unknown person in Smogon in general. So, good job to him.
Shiny Azelf's an old user, right? Like they were. They were
he signed up with
someone of note. They signed up what?
In 2010.
Yeah, but he's I would probably say in terms of relevance, X-Ray is far more relevant than he is
for sure.
the Smogon. Yeah, so it was surprising to me that he even came close to winning, let alone played extremely well and won the game outright. So yeah, good job to him.
Yeah, I'm trying to skip through all these as fast as wow. Mike Alder really did just slap PTF. Good damn. You just hit buttons.
I think TKO brought Sun again.
Yeah, I still that Sun team's just not good. Of all the things to reuse when it doesn't matter,
I wasn't for him using this, but since we were out, I was like, okay, do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. It's just you rarely see a Sun that just doesn't even try to beat Jumpluff. Just if there's a Jumpluff, I give up. You win.
Yeah, actually, wasn't there a Jumpluff and the Jumpluff died for some weird reasons?
What?
Or it wasn't that game, maybe.
Not this game.
Okay, no, it was week 4. That was week 4. Yeah, that was week 4.
Are you sure? I don't remember.
I remember the Sun game where Jumpluff died, and then the opposing team still won versus the Sun.
I don't know. Maybe. I do want to briefly mention Ziri's game versus Jonago. Jonago brought Toxic Wish, Psychic Protect, Executor, and it was Poisonium Executor for the Z Toxic. That's a +1 defense and gets around Sableye's taunt. That was hot. Cool. And then Ziri played the endgame really well to still win that, but that was very hot from Jonago.
Yeah, Iceland said he learned the order. He sub before picking Protect. And he won, finally. Yeah, that was a really good game.
Yeah. Almost through all the replays. I'm just watching this DPP now.
The DPP was super one-sided, from what I recall.
Yeah, not really.
It wasn't that one-sided. No, I didn't see it. No, it was really close.
It came down really close, actually. It to just depending on sets at the end.
Yeah, the Rindo Berry and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. It was a game where Devin had a huge early advantage and Raiden smoked.
Yeah, Devin started out really well and dodged a big sleep powder that helped a lot. But then Emery sort of came back with an Electabuzz static para that I think he needed to static para to win there, and he did.
Yeah.
And that was mostly it. By getting that with on both Electabuzz, he got 2 static paras on Electabuzz and Murkrow, and I think he needed both to win because then the Murkrow would have been HP Grass, I'm sure. So I think Emery only won because of 2 statics.
Okay, so I'm completely confused. pretty okay. That's pretty weird. Was it So Noisy that performed really well?
Hmm?
I don't know.
Yeah, you might have been mixing up a game or something. I don't know.
I'm kind of mixing up games right now.
Nalorium's So Noisy from the Brazil-India set?
Yeah,
Let me look it up.
I'm ready to
This is what
I want to
happens
check
when we
some.
don't have a replays thread.
Yeah,
Ah, I like to just highlight the specific games, not go trudging through for. So Noisy won really convincingly versus Nalorium. Yeah, he kind of smacked him. So maybe you're thinking of that one. But yeah, Emery's game could have definitely come down to A, sets, and B, the two static pairs at the very end he got with Electabuzz. Um,
yeah.
so that's that one.
No, yeah. So I completely mixed up games. My bad.
Yeah, no, So Noisy just slapped Nalorium. It was very
Yeah.
silly. Nalorium didn't even reveal two Mons.
Yeah, that was really a really convincing win from So Noisy.
I think we can move on to the other two sets, though. That's pretty comprehensive. Yeah, I think we hit all these games.
Yep.
Let's talk. So, you got South Italy, Europe, France. Europe's out, but their games versus France matter because South France and Italy are all playing for playoffs. You've got Italy and France both have 6 points, and South has 5, and it's just kind of looking to overtake one. And the perfect storm of craziness happened, where France manages to lose 5-3 to Europe, mostly on upsets. Like France has been doing really well all tour. And now in their final week versus Europe, a team like West had been underperforming a lot, comes out with a really strong performance here. You have Squash losing to Drudd, you have Gatut losing to Tlenet, you have Pepe losing to Termi. Like France's star players didn't show up, and they only barely managed to get a 5-3 loss. And then Italy South ends up tying to put U.S. South and France into a tiebreaker to make it in just pitch perfect fashion. Like everything comes down to the end on Sunday, and I think Gelbel 3C has to upset Skipcan for France, and Galbia has to beat Catalytic in the Italy South set to give France the tiebreaker versus South. Who started out really strong. South started out, I think, 4-1 and then lost down to 4-4 and only tied. Or maybe it was 4-2. I don't remember.
I think 4-2. It was 4-2.
Yeah, it was really dramatic either way. Italy had to win both their games. By far the best P World Cup meme post was Erish Kigal's the handshake meme where it's like Galbia just winning a game versus everyone on Team France thanking him for keeping their playoff chances alive.
Yeah,
it was pretty exciting. We can start with Italy South.
Yeah.
Lots of fun games. I just have to actually pull them up. I don't have like any of the games up yet.
Regalbia's, to be honest.
Galbia's game versus Kata. Yeah, that was fun. Galbia's good at the game.
Yeah, he is.
Why can't I get Kix's game? Where'd it go?
Everybody in Italy is good at the game, to be honest.
On the third page, NZ.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, Kix and G, I think, were the two last games. And the most down to the wire hype ones probably. Tricking, I do remember tricking Pink Dragon Tamer as well. I want to find that tricking. Yeah, okay.
I'm pretty sure that was just a Fat War, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. Dang, I must have mixed that game up then. I liked Manny versus Kix a lot. Manny started out kind of strong with the surprise Scarf Sandaconda. That's seen some usage. and kept it to a really narrow loss. Don't have much to say about that kind of a good back and forth SS game.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. That's not the Tricking Pink Dragon Tamer was not the game I was thinking of. But yeah, Galbia also had the final pretty solid win over Catalytic. Italy's gone kind of memey in the past, like a bunch of Larvesta teams and whatever. But this week, I think I think they really definitely won to qualify. They came in really solid, and I don't have big gimmicks to point out. Like, oh, here's a crazy thing they used. They went in pretty strong.
Try harder, because they only needed 2 wins to make it to playoffs.
Well, in the end, yeah, but overall, I don't think they brought like super crazy stuff. Like last week, Ryza was bringing this insane screens hyper offense that just didn't work, and this week he kind of just came in with pretty standard Togue, Wishy, Clef, Trev, Drampa stuff. Yeah. Like just the most standard team you can think of here.
Actually, Galbia brought a team with non-locked Trevenants, like Cobra Trevenants, Fitjackbug and Quillfish and Specs Drampa with Scarfs and Deconda, which was maybe the top piece of what Italy brought.
It's a bit out there, but it's not that crazy. Like, it's mostly standard mons with slightly different sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, my overall impression, having like finally picked up all these goddamn games throughout the thread, is that no, they kind of just went with some more regular stuff here.
Yeah. I think that stands out.
But what was really big for South was picking up most of the old gens, Oras, Black White, DPP, which is still kind of like supposed to be Italy's weak spot, I think.
Bar Oras, yes, it's Italy's weak spot.
Han's good, but I don't Han is at the same level as other Oras slots that we have.
Like, Pool B, he is definitely a top dog with Pepeduce.
I think in comparison to the rest of the people in Italy, Horn probably isn't the person that's going to be responsible for winning weeks. I think he's in that slot because he knows the tier like pretty okay and can probably take a couple wins, 3 or 4 wins, maybe over the course of a season. So that Tricking and Lock Kicks and Ryza and all those players can play in more slots where better players generally play in, so like your SS or SM slots.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I see Horn. I think he will even admit to you that he's probably in that slot not because he's the best Oras player in the world.
Yeah, definitely, but like in the B pool, I think he is one of the 2 top dogs. Because the Oras pool is quite weak.
I don't remember who Europe was running before, but Termi, Oras, Pepe for France, obviously, Romelin for South. Yeah, I would put him in the. I would put him in the bottom 50% probably, and then when you move up to the top pool, TSR, Estarossa, as well. I don't think Han's bad. I just still think I would put their old gens as a lot weaker than the SS core of Kicks, Ryza, Tricking, G. That's pretty strong.
Yeah, by design as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's by design, so.
And I will say for the old gens, these were good wins for South, but they did come pretty close. Han almost beat Romelin. Romelin pulled out a pretty good late game Arbok sweep. This was just generally a really fun game. Mionda SBPC. Mionda brought Sun and then almost clutched it out with a flame charge Zepstrika that I'm pretty sure outsped. I'm pretty sure SBPC's Simipour was Scarf, and Zepstrika got to outspeed that, and only narrowly. Like SBPC was literally left with a stun fist that lived the HB ice on 10%. So That one was really down to the wire. Um, Micaiah's Sky Solo as well. Relatively close game. Less to say about it. I felt like Sky Solo was just more in control. But not bad old gen showing from Italy, and they got the wins that they needed to qualify. Um, yeah, I think that just about covers it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, just got one more set to go get all the goddamn games for. Europe, France. Very much not what I would have. If every single game in this set went the other way, I wouldn't really have been surprised.
Oh, the only game I was 100% sure it would go this way was the first one, actually. Because Arcobaleno is super underrated because he's unknown.
Arcobaleno is really.
We've seen amongst PU players, he's known. I would say he's probably unknown relative to like Smogon and like the general tour scene. But yeah, probably JCBC to me is more of a support player rather than a player like an actual player himself.
Mm.
So it didn't really surprise me that Arco won that game. Yeah, he's probably the better player out of the two if I had to pick.
Yeah, I don't think Arco was an upset. I don't think Lily winning was an upset either.
Yeah.
Or necessarily like Termi Pepe. Just in general, these were a lot of games that could have been very close.
I'd say probably it's probably one of the most even weeks in terms of player skill in each slot. Like you'd probably put Arco Baleno and JCBC. You'd probably say Arco is the favorite there, but in the rest of the slots, you probably put every other game apart from maybe Skip Can, Gelbel, like a 50-50 based on who's playing.
Yeah.
Mm. And Europe really made sure to show up, even though they were already eliminated and everything. They made this a good fight.
They used T-Wave shenanigans in all tiers.
Termi also brought Scraggy and Oras.
That game was super fun.
Scraggy broken, bro. Scraggy to B-, back in black white.
In black white, yeah, but you brought an Oras. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got these.
There's some continental improvement there.
I've got these games. Wow, JCBC just got eaten alive. What? He just brought he brought hyper offenses and all his mons just died way faster than Arco Baleno. That was kind of weird. I didn't even remember that game.
Yeah, as I said, I don't think JC is the greatest player, but he's more of a support guy than a player, if anything.
I do remember Tony bringing Dunsparce and just like losing solidly. Like he just
so fun.
Tony I think was definitely brought just like a funny meme team. But other guys know, like Drud had a pretty serious straight up game versus Squash that ended up being a good win for him. One of those showcases for Frostmoth being just powerful.
Actually, it's a lot less powerful than it was now.
Absolutely, but this was still like a really good game for it.
Yep. The matchup was quite ideal.
I also quite liked Gelbel's game versus Skip Can because it kind of showed where Spike's hyper offense can go with so many boots and stuff. Like fat bootsmons, because Gelbel was kind of less breaking things and more going to something he knew would get forced out or walled, and then forcing Skip Can to bring in his non-bootsmons and just get them super chipped and stuff. And it really helped that Skip Can's Lurantis was not boots for like no reason. That would have really helped Skip Can.
Because Trevenant,
Yeah, it was itemless for Trev, but he already had a Drampa, and just like having a defogger that's completely grounded and weak to all the hazards versus Gelbel's Spikes offense really, really hurt Skip Can. So that was pretty huge. But I think Gelbel played this one really nicely. I was impressed by it. Didn't even need to bring out the Silvally, that if it was offensive Silvally poison, it looked like it kind of won.
especially like when you see people talking bad about Lycanroc, because people are saying, yeah, Lycanroc is quite not viable in Sanda metagame, and if you don't run Sandaconda, you run Tangela. This is where you see when people are sleeping on it, and it comes out and it just blows team around.
Yeah, it's good. I'll skip Planet Katut. He brought a meme team that he's used in the past.
Yes.
This Oras game was just it was just funny with the Scrag. And I don't know, Pepe just kind of lost. Like he didn't really ever have anything.
Yeah, he didn't have a chance at all.
Yeah, not much to say about the last games. I don't know. Like these were just kind of fine wins from Europe mostly, but oh god, I did totally forget about this DPP game. This might be the one you're thinking about as just a complete smackdown. Alice literally lost one Mon, just set up rocks and spikes, and then spammed close combat with Zangoose. Holy cow! Alice just goddamn. That was Jad. Have you seen this game?
I haven't, but from what I gather, it's a SmackDown.
Yeah, there's the link for you. Oh my god, I just missed it.
I remember there was like a really huge win in DPP this week.
Yeah, that was.
And it was
ugly. Oh my god. Jad, did you
I'm currently watching it now, yeah. Okay, well this took a dark turn. Fuck me. Jesus.
Like what happened?
This took a really dark turn.
What happened is I have no close combat resists. GG. Oh my god.
No fighting. Bro, I know no fighting resist was a thing in like fucking SS, and I've given up now, okay? I've given up being the fighting resist police, okay? But no fighting resist in DPP? Like, isn't this like a Machoke meta and shit? Like,
yeah.
Is it Machoke and Inferno like actual things?
Yeah.
Show is considered as a Batmon by the majority of the DPP pool, which is something I don't understand.
Really? I see a lot of Machoke in the games, so Batmon or not.
Yeah, like when I'm talking to Broad and stuff, and they're like, yeah, Machoke's not good.
What about Monferno though? Because Monferno surely is one of the better mons, given that it's like a Scarfer that can pivot as well.
Monferno's top tier, yeah.
But it's a good one for sure. It's a good one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like pretty fun.
Interesting. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah,
Point is,
now we've seen
silly.
The punish of no fighting resist. This is why you have a fighting resist. I've seen this happen more than once as well when people don't run fighting resist.
Just like, imagine one fighting resist, we wouldn't have a tiebreaker.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's cool.
So speaking of the tiebreaker, we don't have a future week to talk about. When this is over, we'll have Italy versus Midwest and Northeast Canada versus the winner of US South versus France. Very much not the tiebreaker I expected. You have the mandatory SS game, France throwing in Squash, South throwing in Pink Dragon Tamer. They've both been real good, no surprises there. France obviously chooses SM and throws in Katut, whereas South is just running Man of Many, definitely France favored. But South choosing DPP and going with Sky Solo as their hope for their favored tier. This was not really what I expected.
That's fine, Jesus.
Yeah,
this is definitely the tier that I expected because DPP is France's weakness. And Sky Solo had a pretty good performance this tournament.
France has not been amazing in DPP, but Sky Solo is like not a huge DPP person. France also hasn't been running Yandad in DPP, who does do DPP stuff, but has just been doing other tiers and stuff. And I don't know, like South DPP also hasn't been like a huge South thing. Sky Solo has been solid in this tour, but it's very much different than France going, yes, we can choose our SM and put Katut in there, and that's the slot we really want to get a win out of. And I really have to wonder if it's because Piff has to take like a leave of absence or couldn't play or whatever. And I wonder if they would have chosen SS and put Piff in.
Yeah, I think
otherwise.
Piff wasn't on a break or didn't retire, they would have picked SS instead. But DPP is pretty understandable because DPP and SS are the two main weaknesses of France, and US South performed well in them.
Yeah, I think there are teams when you look at them and you're like, if this team gets into a tiebreak, they're going to be dangerous, right? And there are other teams where they're like, if you get into a tiebreak, you're going to get fucked. And I think we've seen the two complete opposite sides of this, where France, they have so much like tiebreaker strength, like having one of the best SM players to just throw in SM just like as a tiebreaker slot in Qatar is like, Jesus man, that's a hard slot to win if you're anybody in the world, let alone if you're down on talent like you are with South. So yeah, and there's not really much you can respond with here. It's France are a way more favored team in a tiebreak, so I'm very much so expecting France to win this, but
Yeah,
I hope at least we get some good games to watch.
I would say
going
SS DPP are like 50-50. But then SM I strongly favor France.
I don't think SS is 50-50. I slightly favor PDT.
You slightly favor, because I'd slightly favor squash.
Oh, like I know.
Yeah.
I'm a French, obviously part French, and I like squash, but PDT's been on a hot streak, like really.
PDT has, but I like French teams more. I do. I think PDT's played well, but not. I don't really remember South breaking out big surprise. Much of anything really there.
Yeah, 100%. I think in a building scenario, I think France will come out with the better teams in SS, because I feel like they have the better builders in the back to support squash, whereas PDT sure has help from the likes of Manamani and whoever, but generally speaking, it's going to be down on like the others to put a solid team in PDT's lap.
And I do think PDT's the better player, but that's kind of why I throw it to 50-50 because I don't know who I'd call. I also don't remember. This isn't new meta, right? It's still old meta for the tiebreaker.
It's definitely new meta.
Oh, it's new meta.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
new meta.
Fair enough. That's gonna be fun then. Seeing like I don't know what Frostlass stuff or whatever people come up with.
Frostlass isn't the threat that you're looking at when you're taking out a ghost type like Haunter is.
Haunter is, yeah, but you know, I mean, I just mean random new mons. Maybe we'll get a Regice or something. Who knows?
That'd be heat.
Hell yes, Regice. Speaking of heat new meta stuff, we should just pivot right into Gimmick Corner. ZS is totally optional. We didn't ask you to prep anything, but is there any underrated or hot sets that you would like to share with the people out there?
Yes, I want to share my boy Swords Dance Free Daily.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Definitely blowing the chair. Like, there's nothing that switches into it.
Yeah.
Also,
Does Tangela not beat it with Toxic?
like, Tangela likely beats it, but then it reveals sub.
Oh, sub SD
Yeah,
Cradily, of course.
And then it's over.
Yeah, that
I
makes sense.
so quite like Dex Frostlass more than the physical one on the gimmick side because even though we got Poltergeist and stuff, people are way too prepared for this. So just bring the specs and vocal everything.
Yeah, that's fair. I think band is fine, but I don't think it's anything insane. I don't think we're like less prepared for physical or anything.
Maybe a mon that shouldn't be slept on because Hunter exists is Caphagrigus with nasty plot, body press, trick room and stuff.
Yeah. Go Fag is going to be really good as well.
Yeah. I'm also kind of afraid of it as like a fat iron defense body presser just because Runerigus tends to die to its secondary weaknesses that Kofag just doesn't have.
Yeah.
Kofag is going to be hard to kill. That's always been a problem when you're facing it.
I've only seen like one or two. It doesn't seem like something people are messing around with a lot, but I'm sure like when we get into the thick of World Cup with new meta, we'll see some Kofags coming out.
Yep. I think like the other underrated sets for Mon that were already there was Specs Mine that Arcabalena used in the old meta, and is still performing really well in this one because no switching was brought down, so it still blows the tier with Psyshock definitely and Mystical Fire. And that's pretty much all. This metagame is pretty boring, as I always say.
I will still beg to disagree. I've been having a lot of fun with offensive Miltank. I think is optimally run.
I don't think run Sub Power Punch Miltank.
Okay, sub pup Miltank. I don't know about that one. I think in the past, offensive Miltank has been able to do a lot of different things with its coverage. Double edge or return has really helped. It's a bit weaker now. It fits into the meta a bit more awkwardly, so I think it's optimally run as Rocks, Milk Drink, Body Slam, Hammer Arm with Eject Pack, because if a Mon doesn't really fit, just give it Eject Pack and make it pivot. It kind of just works.
Yeah, this is how it works.
Pivoting Miltank is very useful. It's annoying that it kind of needs Scrappy now, because there's just too much ghosts, but you can like Oko Frostlast that don't expect it and then pivot out, so that's fun. Yeah, I rate Eject Pack Miltank quite solidly. Defensive's probably fine. I'm sure maybe we'll get some block body press stuff, whatever. But Eject Pack Miltank for the offensive sets, definitely worth giving a shot.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Is it my turn?
It is.
Yep. Go.
Okay. So I've heard that there are a lot of people who are struggling with Haunter. Are you two victims of Haunter yet?
I am.
What about you, Megazard?
Have
you been feasted? Have you been feasted on by Haunter yet?
No, I'm not. I'm not feeling the Haunter hype quite as much. It's a great, like A+ Mon. I'm not like, oh, this thing's too crazy. I don't know.
Interesting. And what would you say about like Drampa or like Jinx?
Drampa and Jinx, they're pretty good. They're pretty scary,
Jinx,
yeah.
To the single one.
What would you say is the most threatening special attacker in the tier at the moment, if you had to choose?
Yeah, it's still probably Haunter.
Okay, right. If I could give you a Pokemon right now that checks all the top 5 special attackers in the tier, would you take it?
Oh, I love AV Regice. Hell yeah.
It's not AV Regice. It's a bit better than that.
Oh, it's AV Frostmoth. Sorry.
It's AV Frostmoth, right? The best set.
We've already done this. Let's just wrap it up. We've already done this joke like 4 times.
No, but it's not actually a joke though. I actually built a team and I'll beat it with you after this finishes. But yes, AV Frostmoth is actually good. You can use it. The actual thing that I wanted to talk about was body press block Miltank. You mentioned it like really quickly. Me and Specs, after the last Untier talk, we went through that Pokemon and we tried to find an actual like switch in for it, and they were all just no, none of them worked. So yeah, that thing. Me and Specs have a very strong inclination to believe that it will, even though we love Miltank as a Pokemon, it will end up broken because of that set or because of defense curl boosting body press shenanigans in general, which is a shame because yeah, we love Miltank, and it's a shame to ban fun sets like offensive Miltank from the tier, but we reckon that will probably end up being broken. So yeah, that, and besides that, we also used this week, or Watermess used this week, a Trick Room, Meteor Beam, Power Herb, Psychic Thunderbolt, Behemoth, as like an offensive mid-game breaker. And that thing is really good. If you can get a lot of damage on the Togedemaru, like a Scarf Togedemaru, which is very easy to do over the course of a game, either via helmet or just like forcing it in with like a jinx or whatever and making it take damage, that Behemoth set definitely comes into its own. And if you can get a Meteor Beam down and click Psychic a lot, you win a lot of games just by doing that. So yeah, those three are the things that I'd have to look out for.
Okay, well, I guess that's the end of this. Thanks, CS, for showing up. Boy, outros, they're fun. Next week we won't have more World Cup. We probably won't even have tiering, but we will have that tiebreaker. So we'll see you then to talk about it.